Okay, people, welcome back to hashtag Keep the Flame Alive. I do apologize, I've been a bit remiss, i.e. lazy. I haven't done any interviews for a while. But I'm back here on the Sunshine Coast. Why is it called the Sunshine Coast? I don't know, because it's been raining for a long time. I have with me Cale Shihan on my left and Dangerfield Shihan on my right. We've just finished a 2-day seminar. And what do you think of the seminar, gentlemen? Oh, sorry, firstly, welcome.
Thank you.
Us.
Thank
Now
you.
tell me, what do you feel? How do you think the seminar went?
I think it was good to at last be able to be with people again after COVID and to reconnect and get moving again into some sort of normality.
So to put this into context, we cancelled this seminar twice before because of COVID. How do you think it went?
We broke the shackles. You know, everybody in Australia has been, and in fact around the world, have had the same situation of being locked down and locked in and unable to train with their friends. And so we've been able to break those shackles and get out together. We've had a wonderful time together training, and it's just lifted everybody's spirit. So, yeah, wonderful.
Okay, and the two of you have just got Shihan title, right?
Us.
In Aikido. How's that feel? Or what's it mean to you?
I'm going to say it's surreal. Sensei Paul and I were talking just in the last 24 hours and thinking back to, seems like yesterday, you know, receiving my Shodan and my Nidan and thinking, oh my gosh, you know, I've come such a long way and what a dream that was to receive that level. And then, you know, time passes and, you know, one day you go, oh, where's my Shodan certificate? I wouldn't even know anymore. And, you know, to receive a Shihan certificate is surreal because to me, the Shihan are people like Shida Sensei and Inoue Sensei, Kancho Sensei. These are, you know, the true masters of the art. And I don't feel that I deserve that at this point. Besides, obviously, I'm way too young.
Sorry, I had something that's right. How about you?
I feel way older than I am.
That's the alcohol, people. Yeah, anyway.
No, it's the training. It's interesting. It's just I agree with some of the points that David Sensei said, but for me, it's beyond. You don't see that coming. You just are doing what you're doing, and it happens. And for it to be recognised like that, especially by yourself, who was at the beginning of my Yoshinkan journey, is very special to me. But it's not something like you prepare for, like your black belt test or a downgrade. You don't know that it's there or it's coming, and all of a sudden it's a thing. And so I'm greatly honoured, and greatly honoured to be considered of that standard, and I'll do my utmost to do what I can to add to Aikido and Budo in general through that title.
For my part, it's not something you prepare for, but it's something you've been preparing for since you started. And in a way, it's a long time coming, well deserved. And the criteria, this was one of the, by the way, we've got some questions coming up, and this is one of the questions that was asked. What does being a Shihan entail? What makes a Shihan? Many ryu or dojo don't have a criteria. The criteria in the Aikido Shudokan or the Shudokan Budo Aiki Budo Renmei, there's two criteria. One is that you're a teacher of teachers. So have you produced instructors? If you tick that box, then yes, good. That's the first box. Second box, do you exemplify the art in character and in technique? If you do, that's the second box. So two things. One, by character and technique, you are representative of the art. And two, have you produced teachers? If you have, then you're ready to become a Shihan. mind you, those are the two quantifiable criteria. There's also other criteria that are unquantifiable, and that's left up to the seniors. So, congratulations, gentlemen. It's an honor and a pleasure to be able to give you that title. And it's only ever the fourth Shihan title ever presented by me and Inoue Aiko Shihan. So, cool. All right.
On
So,
that note, Sensei, just sorry to interrupt you, but I think it's worth noting that Joe Sensei's been with both of us from the beginning of our Aikido journey, and so the gratitude actually sits with us because we've only arrived here with the support of Joe Sensei and so many other people who, training partners and students and who've assisted us along the way. And, it is kind of like a team effort that, and we just happen to be the recipients this time of this opportunity and honour. And, I honestly want to say how grateful I am for support over 30 plus years that we've received from you, the guidance, the inspiration, the support, and through the Oshinkan family that has helped us, helped lift us up to this point. So I'm super grateful. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to throw some questions at you guys. Right? I have my answers, but since it's my show, I get to ask the questions. What is Shudokan Aiki Budo Renmei? Is it just another organization, another all boys network where we pat each other on the back and give up grades? What is it to you? What does it mean
I
to you?
think it's the opposite to that. I think it's a chance to reinvigorate Aikido, to stop having the photocopy of the photocopy and to start creating the original thing again, and starting to produce leaders in Aikido and people capable of driving Aikido forward, or Aiki Budo. I also think that it's about creating an atmosphere where you're breaking from the shackles of your particular style of school and have a chance to safely explore what Aiki Budo is and the elements that make up Aiki Budo, the arts that influenced it and the arts that have been influenced by it.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you on that one. What's your vision?
Over the period of this Gasshuku, I was talking about a model of learning where we started and we go around a small circle, and then that gives us the energy to expand our circle. We go around this, and then we expand again, and we go around. But each circle constantly returns to the essence or the basic or the kihon, whatever you want to call it. And every time you come back here, you start afresh. The mind is open, the body feels like this is a new cycle, it's a new opportunity to learn and grow and develop. And I feel like that's where we are at as an organization, as a group of friends and people. We're at a point where we can start a fresh circle. We've built up a lot of energy by coming around and around and around through practice and experience, and we've arrived at this point where everything looks new again. And we can launch out into this exploring Budo through Aiki once more in a fresh way. And it needs that, because if we just think we start here and we go here in some sort of gradient, then we get further and further away from the essence. But there's never an opportunity for it to be fresh. It's always just going on and on. So this cycle is part of refreshing and making something new and reinvigorating the perspective that we can have of Aiki-related Budo.
Okay, so I'll be the naysayer, right?
Oh, that's new.
Just for a change.
You've never done that before?
Never, no. Most unlike me. So that all sounds really well and good, right? How do you choose to bring that about? That's your objective. What are your strategies? How do you choose to make people see what you want them to see? How's it going to be different from any other Aikido organization?
Oh, well, for me, I'm not interested in making people see anything. I'm going to deliver what I think Aiki is, I always keep coming back to it, and I see Aiki in so many other things I do that.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
What is Aiki?
I think it's freedom to express. I think it's the opposite of what people think Aikido is. I think Aikido is an objective that you're chasing, and people have different names for it. I think Hickson Gracie calls it hidden jiu-jitsu. It's the essence that gives someone the power to do what they do with technique and so forth, and it affects so many things. And people talk poorly of Aikido at the moment, but when you see the sort of people that have been affected by it, Jigoro Kano was greatly affected by it and the personality around the founder of it. Some incredible martial artists. Masayama had a menkyo in Aiki Budo. So when we see this, it's like, well, there's something there. And, if you just want to dismiss that, you're dismissing these incredible people that people have great respect for. What is it that they saw?
But can you quantify what Aiki is for you?
For me, it's hard because I think the body moves with the way that you're taught and what you've learned, being exposed to different things. If you're going to say, well, what's Aiki? I think it's been shaped and influenced by the sword and by weaponry, which has an objective, which is to kill another person. And for me, it's about being able to do that. And some people have, I listen to people speak, and it sounds like they can do that, and that's very interesting. And then it's also when you have crossed into this space where you have lived a warrior life and war's been in your life, the ability to actually do the opposite, which is to calm you. Like, I think a lot of people start learning to have this mindset, but what happens when the mindset actually becomes you? Now we've also got to have the ability to keep calm in having this warrior mindset. So I think it actually does that circle. It brings you to this point and then looks after you once you've crossed that line.
So how do you then bring it out in training? How do you show it?
It's for me. I'm always trying to come across gentle.
Can you say that again?
I'm always trying to come across. I'm trying to have people relaxed and calm, and then emphasize like an exclamation mark. Emphasize important points. Right? I don't want to. I think when I was younger, I was maybe scared people a little bit. Right?
Was that last year or last week?
Well, I wasn't that young last year, I can tell you. But I think so. But now, I think it's more about exclamation marks. It's use that violence of action or violence of thought, but use it in the right time to make a point, and then the rest of the time make people comfortable with that exclamation mark. Let them understand and feel comfortable, but you just sort of, every now and again, you just need to trigger something. A little bit of a shock to just, like a little electric shock to just, okay, but not so much that you crush them.
Okay.
I want to add to this that we think of Aiki as something that's going to happen on a mat. And I feel like this is a place that most of us focus is, well, is it effective on a mat? And a long time ago I started to ask myself, well, I spent a lot of time on a mat, but I spent much more time off a mat. And so I wanted Aiki to be something that helped me be a better person, better father, better brother, better husband, better friend, whatever, better teacher, and lead a better life. And by better, I mean, you know, to be able to make better choices and consider other people, mutual benefit, I would say. So somewhere in there in Aiki is can both of us benefit from our interaction? Is there a way of making the world a better place from our interaction? I don't mean, you know, again, we've been laughing about mung beans and stuff, but the truth is, if life is lived off the map, you know, it's not all warfare. It's how can we be better people in times of peace as well? How can we make peace stay? You know, I don't know. That's. I think this is something worth considering. You know, we've got shit happening in the world at the moment, and people have been pushed and tested and stretched. And if martial arts, Aikido and martial arts can't help people become more resilient, more calm, and lead more meaningful and rich lives, well, what's the point? It just, we might, you know, you go to the gym to get fit, but then there are so many other possibilities for martial art to guide us outside those times. So yes, I want it to be effective in times of warfare and combat and disharmony. But that goes without saying, because I don't want to be the guy on the ground. But it's much more important to be able to, I think, make some addition to our world, add some value to our world and our life and the people around us.
So going back to the question of the organization, how do you see that helping people? Let's say Aaron's got a dojo and he wants to join the Shudokan Aiki Budo Renmei. What's in it for him? What can we offer him?
No, I don't think. For me, it's not about what's in it for him, as in what are we offering, like a consumer product. I think it's more, Budo is uncompromising. Just like life, you're going to die, no matter how much you don't want to. And it's about learning to be at peace with death. And Budo has some harsh lessons, but once you're comfortable with those lessons, you can live a very happy life in being content with the reality of life and what comes after life.
I think in
Sorry. Yeah. I thought we were trying to sell the organization.
I just thought I did.
Oh, okay. It's fine.
I think there's a lot of compromise in the martial arts world.
And you're right. Philosophy one, sales nil.
Yeah.
You
so
about
I think
everybody thinks they're a customer.
Correct. And
they
I
can
think,
come and buy.
Yes. And what I think is that I think we write off new generations. I think we say that these new generations don't want, hard and don't want. I'm finding the opposite. I'm finding people being attracted because they believe that it's difficult. They believe that it's the old way.
And they believe they can give something.
Yeah, and they're being drawn to, I want to be a part of this thing that's bigger than me. If you're compromising for the customer, the product is about the customer. If this thing is bigger than you, then it means it endures after your death. It's beyond you. And Budo is a path that you will die following. And you will add to Budo for future generations.
Yeah.
It's something where we live on in Budo. And whether people know our name or not, we will leave something that carries on.
Okay. So for all those people with ADHD out there, can you summarize what the organization has to offer people?
I feel that it's an authentic experience in being, and also in exploring who you are, your martial art, in a caring but uncompromising environment.
David Sensei?
Can you repeat the question?
Jesus Christ. Encapsulate what the Shudokan Aiki Budo Renmei has to offer people who might want to join.
What have people got to offer? It's back to this point of the customer mentality. You know, if you want something that's bigger than you, it'll only be bigger than you if you offer yourself to it. You add yourself to it. So we come always, everybody, we tend so easily to be thinking, I wonder what I can get out of this. instead of, wonder what I can add to this. How will adding to this add to me? So this is a different approach to an organisation, and it's actually organic. It's where you add yourself to the thing, and in doing so, it grows. So it's not about what you can take out of the organisation, it's what you can add to it, and how that will, in adding, it will grow and make it more for other people to be able to access.
I'm lost for words. I thought they were going to sell it to people, but obviously they don't want to sell it to you. They want you to earn it. For my part, the Shudokan Aiki Budo Renmei, we're like a doorway. And the three of us hold the door open for you, and we're introducing you to the concepts we believe. We're all three different, but we have a lot of similarities. We share the same goals, we share the same philosophies, but we express them differently. So you don't have to be like any one of us, but if you want to join the organization, you come in, look at it, take what you want, don't take what you don't want. You don't even have to join us. But we hold the door open. We're the gatekeepers. That's quite poetic, isn't it?
Right, it's very
Thank
poetic.
you, it's my show, yeah. So anyway,
Good
welcome
line.
to, thank you. Yeah. Well, you're welcome to join us or not, but it's there. And our criteria for you joining us is that if we walk into the dojo, we should feel like we're walking to our dojo. I.e., the level of respect should be there, certain amount of traditions has to be there, certain level of understanding of concepts and philosophies. The technique can look whatever it wants to look like, but those things have to be aligned. Otherwise, thanks for coming, see you later. But we're there to help you get better, not to change you. We're just there to help you get better. But there has to be a certain amount of common ground. Cool? Thank you. That's a sales pitch, unlike you guys.
Yeah, you
Now-
guys did great.
Thanks. Now, moving on.
We need Kurik.
We do.
We should have Kurik.
We got Aaron is there. But-
Kurik could sell ice to the Eskimos, right?
True.
Mm.
We still are being
Yeah, I agree. And he's American.
Now, you once said that the dojo was the perfect place to be made to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
Can you explain that?
Well, the consequences of making a mistake isn't death. The consequences of failure isn't embarrassment. It's a place where you should be pushing yourself beyond what you normally would do, being guided by people who know and have experienced what you're going through so they can safely take you and bring you to limits that you're capable of, but not crushing you by going beyond what you can do. And that takes experience. I've seen dojos, not so much in Aikido, but in karate and other things, just do silly things by instructors who never went through that process themselves. And they just, read a book about Masayama and bash their students, and they've never been experienced to it, and they don't understand what they're doing, and they damage people, and they damage the martial arts. Whereas you need that guidance and feel safe that when that instructor says to you, you can do more, you keep going until you collapse, knowing that you're in safe hands, knowing that when you've given it all, you'll be looked after.
Cool. Question for you. You've always been big, and you alluded to this earlier, that why do a martial art if you can't take it out of the dojo? How can we help people realize that? Because a lot of people, for example, want to learn to defend against a knife. But if you ask a group of 40 people, how many of you ever faced a knife? You'll be lucky if you get 2 hands go up. So, but they still want to learn that. But more importantly is, how can you transfer those skills that you learn on the mat to everyday life, work life, family life, etc.?
Good question.
Thank you.
That's why he's the boss.
Yeah, it's my show.
I think it for me, it's what does the knife represent? So the knife represents death and fear. So that encounter is about those things. And so we face the knife rarely, but we face fear and death all the time. And death sits on our shoulder every day. We don't know when our time is up. And fear about that, and fear about a million other things, rides with us every day. And so if studying Budo can't help us to live with that, and more than live with it, milk it, take something away from it, and have a life that's still rich, then there's something, it's a waste of our time. And so that's why when I train, when we train, I like to think that we can pressure test ourselves in ways where we're always stretching each other just a little bit, never too far, but just enough every day, so that we're improving our ability to manage all the fears and anxieties and struggles that are part of daily life. Because let's face it, those are the things that run us over. Rarely, as you say, it's not attacks by knives that run us over. It's all those other daily fears and anxieties. And Budo has to prepare us to be able to manage those things. To me, that's what's important. That's why it's valuable in that broader context.
Cool. All right. Now we've got some questions here from people who participated in the seminars. Shoot, Flori. First question.
What are the principles or tactics of Aikido, and what is their hierarchy of importance?
Can you repeat
Who wrote that?
What are the principles or tactics of Aikido, and what is their hierarchy of importance?
Yeah, you go first.
Great. What a wonderful question. When I find you, I'll kill you. Just kidding. Principles of Aikido. Okay, so today we were, through the black belt class, we were talking, I was sharing the principles for me that made Aikido understandable and transferable into some broader context. These were in this order: awareness, greatest skill; balance, greatest physical skill; timing, power, and love. Because if you don't love it, you won't keep doing it. So if you don't love life, then you won't embrace it. Love's super important. We went through this. So these are just the principles that I've shrunk my Budo experience down to, and I try and share them in various ways. Hierarchy of importance: awareness first. So awareness is being awake, being alive, being cognizant of what's happening in our world. If we're on automatic pilot, which is the way so many of us live our lives, well, what's the point? You know, you're here for 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 years, but if you're alive for 2 of them, well, the hell. So we have to be alert, alive, awake to the whole experience as much as we possibly can. When somebody's swinging a sword at my head or trying to punch my lights out, I'm awake, I'm paying attention, and I'm able to be present in the world, and that's important to me. Balance, because if I don't have balance, then I lose. If I have balance, the other guy doesn't have balance, I'm likely to win. Timing's everything. Go ask Steve Waugh. Little guys who play cricket and still hit the ball a long way. It's nothing to do with power, it's to do with timing. But then, of course, there is power. Well, how does power work? And today I was just talking about, people laugh at me when I've been screaming at them for a couple of days and beating them and smashing them and stuff, and then I go, oh, my fifth principle is love. And they're all sitting there going, what's love got to do with it? Well, love's the reason I get up in the morning. Love's the reason, the thing I try and sleep. I go to sleep on at night. I want to love my life. I want to love the people around me. I want to love what I do. Today I was saying that, the thing that drives us as humans is survival instinct. We'll do anything to survive. Everything drives us to survive. And yet, for our country, for our mates, for our children, we'll give up our life. We'll deliberately sacrifice our life for love. And that's what makes it so powerful. So those are the 5 things that are key to me.
Aiki for me is the ability to match the environment around you, to be in harmony with the environment so you don't overreact when the environment doesn't require that. So if I come in and everything's peaceful, I need to be peaceful. I need to blend and be a part of that and not disrupt the peace. But if there's aggression, I'll match the aggression. If there's violence, I'll match the violence because I want there to be peace. I want there to be harmony. But I don't want to overreact to a situation. So by just following that concept of being able to match my environment keeps me in check, stops me from over analysing, being overprotective, very aware of the situation, because if I'm matching the environment, I'm aware of the environment. So if I'm not aware of the environment, I'm not matching it, I'm just moving through it. So it sounds simplistic in saying that, but there are so many things that have to happen for that to happen. So situational awareness, pattern of life, like all the military discussions, and that's how I thought about things in Afghanistan. I would walk into a village and I'd match the village. If the kids came out, we'd give them chocolate. We'd match the pattern of life. If the kids and women and children were off to the back, we knew we were up for a fight. We were aware of things, but if we were up for a fight, we matched that as well. So to me, this is Aiki. And it means that I am not the instigator of violence. And if it's respect, love, harmony that I'm walking into, I will match it. But if it's violence, I will match that as well.
Can you repeat the question?
What are the principles or tactics of Aikido, and what's the hierarchy of their importance?
Okay. For me, I'm not going to tell you what the principles are. It's there in everyday practice. Someone asked Old Sensei what the secret was in Aikido, and he says, I'm showing you the secret every day. The secret is in the practice. I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's for you to find out. The hierarchy of what is most important, that depends on you. Aikido is an art form. These gentlemen have their visions. I've got mine. But I will not impose my vision on you. It's for you to find out, for you to decide. That's why it's an art form. And it's not a dogmatic cultural pursuit. It's something that opens itself to interpretation. And I respect what David Dangerfield Sensei said. I respect what Cale Sensei said. And we differ. But we also agree on many things. And that's what makes it a holistic art. We don't have to agree on everything. We agree on lots of things, but not on everything. And that's part of the art. And that's why people who train differently can come in and get together on the mat. That for me is the blending part. That for me is the practice of being brotherly, being sisterly, being friendly. We have differences, but we put that aside, we get together, practice on the mat. What appeals to you first? That's up to you.
Yeah, so I want to add to that. So what Sensei just said then is the reason that two people that just received their Shihan licenses gave two different answers that were equally as important but different. And that's because you empower people to find their interpretation.
As long as it agrees with mine. Just kidding. All right, next one, Florrie. Shoot.
Ego can be a dirty word in the martial arts world. How have you managed ego?
Paul, can't go past you on that one.
What?
I meant because you have a drink and it's yeah.
Skyhooks.
Skyhooks, yeah. Well, for me, it's just it's not hard. Like I'll have someone in my face trying to choke me, armbar me, what have you, in Newaza. So I guess Newaza ground fighting is a way of being exposed to the reality of being vulnerable. I also have many injuries and a lot of damage from my life that I've lived. So for me, it's not an ego thing because in my mind, I know how I can be dangerous if I have to be, but I also know that I'm not the person I used to be physically, but I'm much better mentally. So for me, it's about helping younger people with an older mind and point of view to accelerate their advancement in life through Budo. So that has to be done in a cooperative way and not be ego driven. And I've never asked anyone around me to do anything that promotes me in my status, and people make their own choices how they want to treat you and how they want to respect you. And I think that is the greatest compliment. But they also see my example of how I respect or treat my seniors and my teachers. So I think everyone has ego, but you just need to realize that it's as vulnerable as it's probably more vulnerable and more easily damaged than life and death. Like, it's something that if that's killed while you're alive, if that's damaged, or if who you are as a person, that you respect yourself, is damaged during life, you'll feel like you want to be dead. So it's something, when I think of egos, is more character. I have a sense of ego around the character that I want to be. I don't want to live my life in regret. I want to be happy with my failures and my successes and just accept it as that.
Very good, Sensei.
For me, ego is definitely not a dirty word. Ego is who you are, so self-expression is important. Be yourself. Be authentic. Be your authentic self. It's an important thing, and so we should encourage people to that. We often take this kind of, I guess in the world they take this kind of polar dualistic kind of view, like individualist is over here, collectivist is over here, somehow they have to be an enemy to each other. But in my view is that we can be an individual, we are individuals, that we have our ego, we have our identity, and then it's to find our place. And this is Aiki, is to find our place in the world. And inside that, that's the collectivist part. That's finding our place in our team, in our world, in our family, where we are the best person we can be. And I think of my own experience, I don't know, maybe the Shihan license, maybe the bourbon, I'm not sure which, but I feel like I've been reflecting that as a young person, I was like an arrow. And my parents picked me up and shot me into the future. And my grandparents and my aunts and uncles, and then my teachers at school. So they were the bow, I was the arrow. They just picked me up and shot me out into the future. It was their energy and their power that propelled me forward every single time. And now as I'm getting a little more mature, I'm now, 40s now. Shut up. You reach a time and you start to realise, hey, you know what? I'm probably not an arrow anymore. I'm probably time for me to become the bow. And so I should be picking up the arrows and shooting them forward into the future. And that's not egotistical either. It's life. So if we have energy and we have force and we have opportunity, then we've got to look for the arrows around us, the straight arrows, and we've got to shoot them into the future, use our energy to propel the next generation forward. So, I don't know if that makes sense, but...
It makes sense to me. I can see instructors, their job is to create straight arrows.
It's hard to be egotistical when you don't know the difference between 60 and 40, but hey, what's 20 years? So,
am I the youngest person here?
No, that's me.
No, that's the cat.
Hang on, 7 times 12, he's older than all of us.
Okay.
So I'm the youngest Shihan at this table. I think I am.
How old are you?
That's not split hairs, especially if
63.
you-
53.
63.
53. I'm at 53. 53.
Like I said, hard to be egotistical when you can't count. Some of my teachers, most of my teachers, were very egotistical. And say what you want about them, I greatly respect them. And it was that ego that drove them to their heights. Also maybe part of their flaws in their character, but it was what spurred them on. At age 18, I started teaching Aikido. No one said I could, no one said I was qualified. I did it out of necessity, and I did it because my pride and my ego didn't know otherwise. Is that a good thing, bad thing? Like Paul Sensei said, it's your character. You want to call it ego? Call it whatever you want. Now it takes a lot of ego to put up a shingle and say, come to me, I'll teach you. The governments didn't license us. We just said, hey, come to me, I'll teach you. It takes a lot of ego to do that. But if it wasn't for that ego, we would never have done it. So you be the judge. Use the experiences of your teachers, use your experiences, and decide whether ego is a dirty word. And how do you keep it in check? Do what David Sensei says. Become the bull. Because it's your turn now. Your turn to sit back and let other people come to the fore. You had your chance. They had their chance when they were young. I'm still young. And now they've got to let other people come to the fore. But I think, that's what being a teacher of teachers is. You're starting to build the next generation. And you don't build the next generation by pushing them down. You do it by lifting them up. Just like Darth Vader did that. Yeah. But that's how you do it. I'll explain to you, sometime. Yeah. Okay. So, ego.
Was that key or the force?
That was the force. Yeah. Same, but different.
May the 4th.
Yeah.
So,
The key.
is ego good or bad? You decide. I think it's good, but, my father used to call me an egotistical bastard. And I was wondering, is he trying to insult me? Anyway, I'm a bit slow.
Sensei, I want to say, coming around the circle, you asked earlier about what's the organisation for. It's a bow. That's what it's for. It's because we believe in trying to help everybody around us because we've been the beneficiaries of people's efforts to project us forward into the future. We believe in that. We've had that experience. That for me, that really is what this organisation is about, is how do we help the next generation launch themselves into a brighter future where they can stand on our shoulders. We've been standing on other people's.
So, next question.
Also, I'll add as well, if you do no touch Aikido, don't come anywhere near us.
Well, you won't because it's no touch.
It's no touch because everyone that has been spending their time destroying the name of Aikido, we're not interested. We're here to reinvigorate the name. So all the charlatans, we will call you out if you come near us.
Flora, don't ask the question, the one about who snores the loudest. Skip that one.
Of course. To Paul Sensei.
Directed.
Oh, bang!
Right. Snap.
How important is unarmed combat in the army compared to firearms and other skills?
Oh, okay. So the interesting thing for unarmed combat is we didn't take it all that important. It wasn't such an important thing in the past. It's become an important thing. It's become important because we've realised during close quarter battle and urban warfare that you are in close proximity with other people, and when you're trying to kill someone, they don't really like being killed by you, and they do the best they can to stop you from doing it. So you have a stoppage of your weapon, or you're caught unawares. You end up in this sort of grappling, close combat situation. Now, the reason the Australian Defence Force has taken it so seriously is that it's also a way that you can really push people and develop skill sets, behaviors, attitudes without damaging them. Now, that may sound weird if you just do martial arts because you think, hang on, this is, a confrontational thing. But when you're training with lethal weaponry, it's not that silly. Like, we're now talking about hand to hand, there's much less opportunity of injury and so forth compared to lethal weaponry type training. So it's now in the military, in the Australian Army. My program's using the Australian Army and the New Zealand Army, but it's expanding rapidly across the Defence Force, becoming a very important part, along with shooting skills and also medical skills and communication skills. So what we've done is created an environment that is basically generating the martial artist, but in its modern format. And even martial arts, the way it's looked at is that we want the traditional concept of martial arts because we want the ethical and moral character that comes along with it. So we're not interested in just the sport. We're interested in the tradition of martial arts, but making it around the tradition of the Australian Army.